All right, folks, it is Saturday. It's Tuesday, y'all. You're live with Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. It's going down, folks. We got a hell of a guest coming on shortly. But in the meantime, me and Dusty about to get this party started, folks. We got to do this right here first. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve After Dark to concerts in the park, you are live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. This is how we do it. This is how it's done. Every Tuesday, most of the time, me and Dusty.
Yeah.
Most of the time. All right, let's get busy. What up, Doc?
Lonzo, what's up, my man?
Man, just watching the hip hop world go round and round, and the rest of the world go sideways. Shit.
A lot of news in hip hop, man. I'm kind of sometimes embarrassed to be part of this culture that I grew up loving, man. And sometimes I turn it on, I'm like, damn, is this really what we came to?
You know what, man? Imagine me being a double grown ass man, seeing hip hop and the world that we grew up in go to hell in the handbasket. You know, folks is doing all kind of stuff, trying to bring rewrite history, cancel history, eliminate history, and meanwhile, the youngsters is making some of these youngsters are making such a negative history. You're making them look correct as they move forward, and it's just, man, I don't know, dude. It's hard to figure this shit out.
We're going to ride it through, man. We're going to ride it through. We got a great guest tonight, man. I'm going to tell everybody to get nice and comfortable, kick your feet up and relax. We have Tulo coming in. Now, I was familiar with his career back in the day. He was a youngster. He came out when he was about 12 or 13. He did some music with the GETO BOYZ. You know, he did a lot of touring with Scarface. He has a very, very interesting story. And he was just... he just went viral a few months back. He was on another podcast and he had his thing on him and it went off during the podcast. And that thing got millions and millions, probably billions of views by now. But we're going to talk about his story, talk about that a little bit. And then Lonzo and I are going to get into some West Coast hip hop history. But what's good, Lonzo, is our dude on the line? You want to catch up on a few things?
He just popped in. I'm looking at him right now. I'll bring him in right quick.
There it is.
Tulo. Hey, what's going down? What's going on, man? Trying to get this internet and this goddamn vision right. You can see me clear or what?
You're looking good. What it be like?
All right. Oh man, appreciate y'all having me on, man. What's up with it?
Oh man,
yeah, appreciate you being on, man. Appreciate you being on. We were just giving the crew, the chat fam, an idea of your background and your history, and we're really looking forward to jumping into it and talking some 90s hip hop and what you got going up now. Of course, that viral video. So we'll touch on all of those things, man. But you want to hit them with some stuff, Lonzo?
You know what? First thing I'm gonna say, man. It's a comedian, one of my favorite comedians. I know you probably heard this already. He's in the club and he's clowning this dude. This dude name is Tulo. Okay. And when AJ called me and said, I got Tulo coming to the thing, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Because the comedian makes a joke about the name. Okay, like it's some kind of Samoa Tulo, the god of bullshit, or whatever the case may be. And I thought it was a cool name. So that's just something to kick it off with. Man, welcome to the show. It is what it is. I know a little bit about you. Tell me about your game and how long you've been in it.
Well, especially your era, but more familiarized with than the new generation. But like 92, 93, I came out with the GETO BOYZ, Scarface, and I had my own album then, Funky Little Brother. And as time went on, I wound up doing something on LaTroy, Sitting Fat Down South.
Okay.
But, after being in and out of incarceration and stuff, right now I'm independent and doing everything on my own. So
okay. How long was you on the state vacation?
Oh man, in and out, man. It's over 20 calculators. So
okay. All right. How you feel about it? I mean, how you doing now? You all right? You ain't getting homesick, are you?
Oh man, no, man. I'm super blessed, man. Like I tell everybody, man, as long as I'm free and able to get up the next morning and go to sleep, with all 6 of my sisters, ain't too much more I ask for.
I ain't mad at you, Doc. Man, what's it like? Have to go and sit down for a while and come back and trying to stay relevant in the music game. But did the game change that much when you stepped off and came back?
Um, to an extent, and I guess it all depends on the individual. So for me, it was pretty much always more of like, I came up in the era where if you wasn't signed to a major label, you pretty much, it was pretty much hard on you. So to come out and be in a situation where now, if you know how to work the internet and there's so much self promotion and so many ways you can get yourself out there on your own, it kind of makes it more easier. I feel like the people that is hard on is the people that get stuck in a bubble and get stuck to a certain culture and a certain time in rap.
Hmm.
Well, with my music, I don't get stuck. Like if what was going on in the '90s ain't going on in the 2000s, I don't miss out because my subject matter and what I be on is always going to be current and relevant, and it's gonna be based on life and life matters, not no trends or surfing nobody else wave or nothing.
Got you, got you, got you. Man, what's it like working with the Ghetto Boys?
Oh man, it was super cool. There's so many individual personalities with them. You had Face who was, more like, street and on what I was on.
Mhm.
Then, you had Willie D who, was smart and, just real mature, however you want to put that. Then you had Bushwick who, real smart and rock how he rock. Then you had Big Mike who, was somebody I ran with, every day that was on what I was on. So you got individual personalities and characters, but in a whole, it was a great experience.
What was your biggest song with the Ghetto Boys?
Bring it on.
Okay, okay. We're looking at
That was
Dusty.
huge, man. That song was huge. That was the Scarface specifically, right?
Nah, that was on the that I thought he asked me about the Ghetto Boy. That was a on the Ghetto Boys to Death Do Us Part. That was like an
Mm.
introduction. That was like an introduction for all the artists that was on the rap a lot. So it was like a cult, like a posse song where everybody just went on there and did their thing.
Okay, Dusty, go ahead.
Yeah, man. I would love to discuss, your early time in the industry. Back in the early '90s, kid acts were really big. I mean, Crisscross was blowing up, Another Bad Creation, the Youngsters. I mean, the list, kind of goes on and on. Everybody at that time seemed to be trying to grab a kid act. Can you talk to us about that aspect of the game? How you felt being this, young 12-year-old cat out there and your experiences back then?
Well, I mean, like you said, it was a part in the era where, the kid movement was jumping how it was jumping, but it was like I was on another page. It was like they had the gimmicky, stuff and all that old kind of stuff. So on my end, it was more of like my subject matter was on like the adult type of stuff and the street type of stuff. I think it was pretty hard for people to like grasp because it's like unless you just from that type of environment, it was like hard to relate to having a kid talking about and saying the type of stuff that I was saying. So, but like outside of I think the other kid group that was on that I was on that I rocked with tough was illegal.
Illegal. They were hard, man.
Yeah, so outside of them, the other kid groups, it was like, they was on some real kid stuff, man. And so, but it was cool.
Before we continue, I'm gonna ask everybody to check out his new record, "Show You," on all platforms. Type in Tulo and then "Show You," SHOW, and the letter U. Check out his new banger. But
Appreciate it, bro.
is it safe to
Appreciate it.
say that most young artists of the day, back in the day, especially your first music contract, probably wasn't right?
Um, I ain't gonna really say that, bro, but I can't speak for nobody else. But what people like to do is try to like individualize certain COs or certain labels based on, whatever the situation was. But like in the music industry, it's a standard contract. And under that standard contract, what people don't understand is like, say for instance, if I'm the CEO and I'm gambling on you and your career and I'm putting up $1 million, it's not no, I mean, when you think about just doing business, when you invest in hoping to at least make double or more. So when you invest in this kind of money and you got money going in all these different places and all these different areas, and the way that it's broke down, it end up what it end up to. So I can't speak for how people that's selling millions and millions and millions of copies and all of those stuff feel about their contracts and their record situations. But I know being signed to a label and I'm not coming out of pocket or nothing. I'm just having my career being gambled on. I mean, it's only so much you can be mad about.
Yeah, that is kind of wild, Doc. Because when when you play both, like I'm one of the cats that play both sides of the fence. I'm the label and the artist, and it's real. It can be tricky because as a label, you have all the financial responsibility. You got to get your money back, get a profit, and then be prepared to pay other people, plus pay the artists. And contracts they lean to the label big time, and you very seldom going to find an artist is happy with their label. You very seldom. And when the game is structured, it's just how it is, man. But I never understood how is it that you could hire me to do a project that you own, but make me pay for all the production costs of this project. I mean, that's okay. You hire me to do a project, and it's your project. Legally, it's yours. I can't do a damn thing with it, but it's my responsibility to pay you back all your money, and I pay your money. I pay you back your money with my royalties, not your money. Okay, so it's a cold game, Doc. It's a very cold game.
Yeah, and by you being on both ends, I guess you understand it better in the way that I'm trying to explain it, because especially in that era, and what people will do is they'll get caught up and seeing themselves on BET and doing these major shows and having these major features and all of those stuff, and feel like they that major artist and that they star and they should be living and having it like the artists that they seeing, but they not understanding that this is all off the fruits of somebody else's labor.
Right, right. Yeah, you rapped it, you sang it, but I'm the one that had to market it, promote it, pay for the video, pay for you, pay for the producers, pay for the studio, and yeah, you out front, but I'm pushing like a son of a gun because if you hit, we all hit, but I'm gonna get my money back first 10 times over, and that's the part that can be real hard for artists to understand, especially when they haven't recouped yet.
And then another way I found the way to respect it is if you don't recruit and you take that L and you drop me, or I find a way to go on by my business, I still have the name and the brand that the fruits of your labor created.
That's right.
So now it's on me to just continue pushing for my dreams, man. And hey, yeah.
A lot of artists have done that. Probably one of the artists I can tell you that I know personally that did that was MC8 and Compton's Most Wanted. They got with Capitol, they built them up, and their first couple of albums that Unknown to Slip did got them out there, got them recognized, and they haven't had a hit since then, but they still can work because of what they did back in the late 90s with Unknown to Slip and Capitol Records. That, once you get that, that's like being branded as being successful by having a major record deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cold game.
Yeah, let me ask you, man. You went on tour, you did a lot of shows with Scarface, and I know that a lot of those shows there were spot dates where N.W.A. or Eazy-E specifically was involved. Can you talk to us about what you remember about those days?
The show that I remember the most was the one that we did in Chicago. And that was doing I think the time I think Eazy had a big song. I think it was dissing Dre or somebody. With BG Knockout and them on there.
Real Mother F and G's, yeah.
Yeah. So that it was a big show and everything. Backstage and stuff. I met Eazy and stuff. But me and BG Knockout, we after the show we did most of the kicking it and doing the stuff that we do after shows and stuff. But it was a cool experience. But it was like during the era I was coming up in, that was the part of the music movement that had gradually grew away from like the KRS ones and that type of rap to the now what they was considering gangster rap. So it was like I was a big fan of Spice One. So it was like and MC8. So and I got a chance to go on their show, Gangster Chronicles. But um, so it was like N.W.A, Ghetto Boys, Spice One, Tupac was coming up and all that stuff. So it was right around the time of that era. So it was a cool experience.
What about Face, man? Can you talk to us about Face? What was, he's a legend, one of the GOATs, top 10 in a lot of people's list. Talk to us a little bit about Face, man.
Man, being with Face at such a young age and being around him and seeing what he even involved to and became, like, you know, the longevity part of it, not getting caught up in a lot of the pitfalls that I kind of normally get caught up in, man, and being able to at one point run for politics and just the humbleness that he had of himself. Like he ain't trying to argue about being no greatest rappers, whatever GOAT titles or whatever you put on him, he gonna accept it, he gonna run with it. But at the end of the day, man, he just living, staying genuine, staying humble, man, and appreciating the fact that he has been able to be who he's been to himself and the world.
That's a good outlook, Doc.
Legend, man, legend. Let me follow up real quick. You were 12, 13 on the road, and you mentioned in other interviews, this is why the only reason I'm bringing it up, but you mentioned in other interviews that older guys around you on tour at the shows were encouraging you to, do your thing with older women, knock them down. You mentioned you were doing certain substances back then with a bunch of adults. In reality, you were an underage kid. Do you think that society would have looked at your story differently and been more upset if instead of a 12-year-old boy, you were a 12-year-old girl doing those things?
Most definitely. I'm talking about to the fullest. That's like night and day. So it definitely wouldn't have been accepted. It definitely would. And the closest thing that I can compare it to now that we have all this internet stuff, it's like the Little King situation. The dude that was running with Finesse two times and Hustle
Oh, break it
Cartel.
down for us. Break it down for us before you go on.
Okay, so it's like with the Little King situation, the way that Finesse two times and Hustle Cartel was like, I guess the way
The
people look
9-year-old
at
kid,
it.
right?
Yeah. Exploiting him and having him involved in all the stuff that he involved in. You have different perspectives on how people look at it and take it. So I feel like in my situation, if internet would have been how it was then, it'd have been the same thing. But when you throw your spin on it, the narrative of it, if it was a female, it'll probably be a whole bunch of people still in jail and
Yeah.
yeah, all that old kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a whole different picture.
Yeah, now we got to go back to the situation, man. I got to ask, how did you manage to shoot yourself?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Also, that's right. You can't even shoot yourself in this world. You can't.
Yeah. So
Allegedly.
that so it's like no matter how I spin the topic, what I'm
Okay.
saying? You're gonna have people to believe a certain thing, then you're
Right.
gonna have another you know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of people feeling like, man, you still on papers, yada 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 yada. So my thing was like what I was explaining to my dad was like, you got your podcast up and coming. No matter how successful it is that people only buy into clickbait.
Okay.
So you can have all the most positive stuff. You can talk on there about all the most educational stuff and drop all the jewels and might only get 100 likes or views. But if you have something that people can really like, something very negative that people can really just clickbait and draw on to, there's no telling where to take it, man. So understanding that when it comes to the internet and stuff, man, with AI, with just ways to create content, man, it's like you use your imagination, man, and try to make the best of it.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand. I'm about to
Yeah,
shoot.
for legal reasons, we won't go too deeper into that. It sounds like, right?
I ain't. I ain't glad. We gonna leave it right where.
Exactly.
Okay. I ain't.
Content creating, man. Y'all stay supporting everybody. They got podcasts, doing music, man, and stay tuned in, man. We love
Yes,
y'all.
yes, sir. All right, Doc.
Yeah.
We got about another. I will keep for 20 minutes. We just hit the 20-minute mark. We got to cover some more stuff, man. Glad you stopped through. I appreciate it.
Man.
AJ, love to you, Doc. Always.
Thank you. And one more time, make sure you guys check out his single. Tell them what it is and tell them where they can find you.
Oh man, you can find me on all social medias, man. OG #2 LOW, man. The new single and a whole bunch of more new music on all streaming platforms, man. But the one my boy just spoke of called Show You, SHOW, the word you. Follow me on the #2 LOW, man. All streaming platforms, all social sites, man. Let's run it up.
Tulo.
Man, thank you, brother.
All right, peace. All right, folks, that was Tulo out of Texas. Allegedly, my brother supposed to shot his allegedly.
There's a billion views out there, but allegedly he did.
But see, maybe we gotta allegedly do some shit like that, man, and just go and get us a couple of billion views right quick. Allegedly.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it the authentic, organic way, Lonzo. Even if it takes us 10 more years, man, we're gonna keep it pushing this way, man, and keep it real. But you know, something I would love to discuss with you, man. I texted you and then we ended up hopping on the phone earlier this week. I was listening to an interview, and shout out to one of our viewers, our listeners. I can't even tell you who it was. They sent it to me on via DM. But I would love to give them their proper dues. But they sent this and they said, I would love to hear you and Lonzo discuss this. And the title was basically in a nutshell, the real history of West Coast hip hop. And it was a Be Real from Cypress Hill, legend in the game, has a great podcast called the Dr. Green Thumb Show. His guests were KRS-One, King T, Disco Daddy, and Egyptian Lover.
Egyptian Lover, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm listening, right? 3-hour interview. And I rarely listen to anything more than 10, 15 minutes. You're lucky. But if it's about hip hop and West Coast, something I'm specifically loving, involved in, I most likely will listen to the whole thing. So I'm painting my studio, as you guys can see. You know, I'm painting my studio. I'm listening to it. And I'm like, all right, an hour into it, I'm like, all right, they haven't mentioned Alonzo Williams' name once. Okay, 2 hours into it, they haven't mentioned his name once. So I shoot you a text, and I'm hearing stories, you know, that we talked about specifically on our channel. And I would just like to kind of talk about a few things that I heard on that podcast, which is, once again, a great podcast, but there's what they say, his truth, and then the whole truth, or whatever. So we're going to talk about Lonzo's perspective, but you know, your name wasn't mentioned for 3 hours, a 3-hour documentary, Lonzo. Let's start with that, because I say blasphemy when I hear that, but when you hear us podcast that's 3 hours long, that's a long time, about a topic that you were heavily involved in, and you're not mentioned. What do you think?
They can't talk about me because they don't know nothing about me. You got to understand, man. You got to understand this, okay? I'm older than Egypt is. Egypt, when I started doing my thing at 19, I'm 6 years older than Egypt. So that makes Egypt, if I'm 6, that makes him 13 when I'm doing my thing at Alpine. Egypt was not a part of that. Egypt came into the game in the 80s. Okay, he said he was in the game in the 70s. He said in the interview, in 1977, he was doing mixtapes. Bro, you was 13. Who was doing mixtapes at 13 and cussing on them? And cussing, you ain't doing that. I don't give a damn. Okay. One of the things he said that was I found really hilarious is that because he was cussing on his mixtapes and it was all over the school, that he thought somebody's dad or something was going sweating, and while he was on the bus, a man walked up to him out of the clear blue sky and said, "Are you an Egyptian lover?" And I thought it was somebody's dad who was going to get mad because I was cussing on the mixtape. And he says, "Yeah." He says, "Can you do what you do in a club?" He says, "Yeah. I'll pay you $1,000 to do the same thing in my club." And I'm thinking to myself, in 1977, $1,000 for a DJ ain't gonna happen. Second of all, why in the fuck would a man with $1,000 for a DJ be on the bus? understand the scenario, understand the time, understand all the factors. Now I know somebody, oh man, you just hate. No. See, that's the problem we got with a lot of the folks that try to rewrite West Coast history. Okay, first of all, you're too young to certain aspects of the game you can't speak on because you don't know nothing about it. You're making up shit as you go. You're kind of doing some Donald Trump shit. You're spitballing, trying to make something happen. 1977, me and Roger was doing Alpine Village. Okay, fresh out of 1977, me and Roger was doing Alpine Village. Egypt was not a part of that team. I'm still the #1 DJ for Unique Dreams Entertainment, which eventually turned into Uncle Jam's Army, but they ain't around yet because they still in junior high school. Okay, to say Uncle Jam's Army was the Kool Herc of West Coast hip hop, again, you just talking out the side of your ass, because what did Uncle Jam's Army do? They got Egyptian Lover. They had Muffler, which I got a lot of respect for. Muffler produced LL Cool J, Run DMC, Houdini, a lot of stuff. Nothing but love for him, okay? And even Bobcat. But when it came to earth-changing, world-changing shit, when it came to the people that made the transition from the hip-hop, from the music, going from the dance promoters to the clubs, to hip-hop, to gangster rap, which everybody loves, to the motherfucking Super Bowl, ain't but one crew did that. Do I have to tell you who it was? Ain't but one crew did that. Ain't but one crew, ain't but one person, ain't but one label ever had an artist that brought out the World Series Super Bowl, the World Series championship in the 57 Chevy. I ain't got to tell you who it was. So when it comes to the person or the entity that had the biggest impact on the world, not just LA. LA, they may have won LA. I'm gonna give them that. But I take the world hands down. I've never been a hood nigga. I like going global. I want to see everything. My people, my folks, my discoveries have touched the globe in more ways than one. I ain't got to say a whole bunch more than that. Now, folks, nobody's been more consistent. Disco Daddy got nothing but love for him, but he went to the service. He only had 2 records. Never owned a record label. Never discovered nobody else. He was a Soul Train dancer. More love to him, but Soul Train, that's a part of hip hop. I will give that a part of hip hop. But again, you got to either own some shit or give birth to something else to really claim that status. Okay, ain't nobody. I hate talking about I'm a humble son of a bitch. That's probably my biggest problem. I hate talking about myself, but it pisses me off when people try to take status that they don't deserve or try to apply status someplace that's not warranted. I'm not the West Coast hip hop. I'm not the West Coast Kool Herc. I'm the West Coast Lonzo. I'm a combination of Kool Herc, Don Cornelius, Barry Gordy, and a few other son of bitches I can't think of right now. I'm not just one dude. I'm not just one. I'm not a knockoff of one person. I'm a combination of several people. All these influences is what made me do what I do, allowed me to do what I'm doing, allowed me to still do what I'm doing. And I've been an artist, been fun, but I got other shit to do now. I get streets named after artists. I changed. I'm in politics. I do shit like that. I'm not just still trying to be an artist that's 68 years old. I'm not doing that. I'm doing something different. But again, because I did what I did, it provided a platform for Q, Dre, Easy, Compton's Most Wanted, Michelet, Afro Man. Do I have to keep on going? Do I keep on reminding y'all of that shit? So I got to call Dr. Green Thumb because he don't know either because he wasn't around yet. He don't know. KRS-One, you in New York, you don't know. What I did not realize is New York don't know shit about us. They know Uncle Jam's Army because Uncle Jam's Army booked a lot of those cats at some point in time. Okay. He booked a lot of those guys. He did a lot of stuff with Houdini. After I left Skateland, they brought people to Skateland. But at Skateland, I brought in had LL Cool J at Dudos. I had Real Roxanne at Skateland. I had Salt and Pepper at Skateland. I had Alfonso Ribeiro at Skateland. I had Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff at Skateland.
Wait, what? I don't think we had ever talked about that.
Shit. I did all that shit. Back then, they were just coming up. They were easy to get. If they was coming through, if it came through K-Day, they would just pop through. Okay? Alfonso Ribeiro, they called him the Michael Jackson Kid or something like that. He was a dancer. He's still a dancing fool. But he was a little kid. And
Carlton, also known as Carlton.
Carlton. Okay? Carlton would he came to Skateland. I brought Real Roxanne to Skateland. Salt and Pepper. Herbie Lovebug. They all came to Skateland. And I did that. Then later on, Roger brought in Rakim and Eric B and stuff like that. And I'm not taking nothing from them, but understand who paved the way for all this shit. Okay? Who paved the way? K-Day at Dudos, we had so many people came to Dudos, it was ridiculous. In fact, I never forget one time, Greg Mack he wasn't a partner per se. He was one of the guys. Greg Mack. He was responsible for us doing getting advertising because we were doing the traffic jam. Wrecking Crew, first traffic jam. Okay, for K-Day, doing it we did that shit every day. And in exchange for us doing the traffic jam, Greg would give us artists and promotion at Dudos. So he every week we did Dudos. We had a new act, new edition, Midnight Star. In fact, Roger had went behind Greg's back one week and had Midnight Star go to Skateland, and Greg heard about it and got pissed, called Gerald Busby, whoever it was at the time. I think it was Gerald Busby. And if they don't come to Dudos, you'll never get another record played again. And that limo went to Skateland, and it made a U-turn in Central, came right back into Dudos. Okay, this is real shit. But if you ain't a boss, you just on the sidelines, you don't know this kind of shit. And there wasn't but a handful of bosses back then. And ain't but a couple of us still left today. So when I speak, Egypt was not a boss. Egypt never gave a dance. He DJ'd a lot of dances. He never gave one. He was the entertainer. He was not the promoter. After Soul Train and DJing at the disco club on Adams, I don't recall Disco Daddy. He went to the service for a while. He left. King T came around during the 90s, and I had a role in his career because Unknown was one of his producers, and we had him at West Coast Records for a while before he went to Capitol. So everybody gets touched at one point in time from the same inner circle. And the inner circle it's a handful of people that are always in the inner circle. And I'm probably one of them. Without being cocky.
Now, I've been doing this show with you since 2018. I've heard you tell the same exact story a dozen times. And every time you tell the story, it's the same exact story. If someone was bullshit, you would know, oh, he said this last time. He didn't say it. He said it was red, not blue. Or I can honestly say I've never heard Lonzo change up his story. And it's all documented right here on your channel. But during the interview I was listening to on the Dr. Green Thumb show, and I advise everybody to go check it out and tell them about this show as well, because we got to get Lonzo on Cypress Hill show on B-Row, because he's a legend. And in his defense, B-Row probably said 5 words the whole time. B-Row didn't even talk. He just let KRS and all them talk. But during the interview, it was said that Uncle Jam's Army were the first to bring Run DMC to Los Angeles. We know this story very well, but please break it down about that.
I'd already booked Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow came out here, taught DJ Yella how to scratch, blah, blah, blah. Now, me and Russell Simmons is talking on a regular basis. Hey, man, I got this group. Because after Curtis Blow left, he was trying to get me, he gave me Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No, I'm sorry, let me back up. when Run DMC came out here, they were supposed to play on a Saturday. I booked them originally for a Saturday to play at Eve After Dark to offset the potential loss I was going to take from Uncle Jam's Army being at the sports arena that night. I'm already a step ahead. So I called Russell. Give me. I'll take your brother and his two partners. That's how he sold it to me. My brother got two partners. They got a little something coming out. Can you put him on, bring him to LA? Okay, cool. I want him on this date on the Saturday. And Russell calls back, says, hey man, they got something in Pomona on Saturday. Can they do you on Friday? I'm like, cool. I'm still cool because I can still get my money. If I take a loss on Saturday, so be it, because I'm gonna get my money on Friday. I ain't tripping. They do the show at Eve After Dark. I fly them in. I put them up in a hotel in Carson. It was a Ramada Inn back then. And I fly them in, take care of them the whole 9 yards. The next night, they were supposed to go to Pomona. I found out they played for Roger at Uncle Jam's Army. Now, the assumption that Roger, Uncle Jam's Army brought them there first is always possible because that's where you may have saw them at first. I'm not saying if you didn't come to the Eve on Friday, you didn't see Run DMC at Eve After Dark. You might have saw him at Uncle Jam's Army. But in doing my documentary, Gid Martin, who was Roger Clayton's business partner, I told this story, although it didn't make the cut. He says, "Oh man, Lonzo, I realized what happened, man." I said, "What you mean, Gid?" He said, "I gotta apologize to you, man." I said, "For what?" He says, "Because I can understand why when Run DMC played the sports arena, we had to bring them all the way back to Carson to the hotel, damn near the mile, because Gid lived out in damn near in Torrance at the time." I said the reason why they stayed in Carson because the Carson hotel is the closest one to the Eve After Dark. If Roger had brought him in first, he would have booked him at the Universal Hilton, which is right across the street from the sports arena. There's 100 hotels between. Well, I'm sorry. There's a gang of hotels around the sports arena because it's the sports arena. But because I brought them in and Gid was not privy to the argument or damn near fight me and Roger had, I'm like, dude, how you gonna take my act so close to my my event and not offer no money for hotels, airfare, nothing? Man, fuck you, I ain't doing shit. I ain't giving you. This is the kind of conversation me and Roger had. Gid don't know that. Egypt don't know that. Only me and Roger know it, and Roger gone. But I ain't got a lot to kick it. So when I tell people certain things, sometimes it takes them a minute for them to register. Yeah, man, the reason why Run DMC stayed at the Ramada Inn in Carson, because the Ramada Inn in Carson was the closest closest hotel to Eve After Dark. Oh, man, no shit. Yeah. So these are the kind of things, like I said, when you're a boss and you're making moves and making things happen, people on this, and there's no disrespect, but if it's your job, your boss don't always tell you all the moves. He just does. He doing give you the orders what your responsibilities are. These people, a lot of times, like I said, they have never done anything significant. Yeah, they had a hit record or two back in the 80s, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But far as creating something that was sustainable and giving other people a opportunity. Now, I can say Egypt did give Rodney O and Egypt and Joe Cooley their start, but again, how they got the start was from a company that I created, West Coast Record Distributors. And I asked Egypt, I asked Rudy from the Dream Team and Unknown DJ to let's form this distribution company that can offset what McCullough was doing, because McCullough was going out of business. Me and Adrian Gregory, Tupac's former manager, drove our asses to Palm Springs, met with all the distributors at the NARM show, came back, met with Steve Sheldon from Rainbow Records, and he gave us distribution. And we did this shit based on my idea and concept, and I led the fucking way like I always do. He was never there. His woman ran the shit. He was too busy being the lover, the Egyptian lover. He was barely ever there. And he said something. I'm gonna say this right here. He may deny it now, but I'm gonna take it. Unknown was there. He got a lot to kick it. In fact, I mean, I should get my phone and call his ass right quick. When he said something, me unknown, and my other partner that I've never forgot, that I've never forgiven him for saying. He looked us all in the face and told us, I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. And if it wasn't for Lisa, I would be fucking with none of you niggas. Say what? Now, he was as arrogant as he could have possibly been, driving the 560, pocket full of money, new suits every day. But we supposed to be business partners. I didn't beg you to be in business with me. I asked you, do you want to do it? You said, yeah. But that was the response I got from him after about 6 to 8 months in business. I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. And if it wasn't for Lisa, I would be fucking with none of you niggas. Well, that was kind of the end of West Coast regular tribute. That's the man, fuck you. Real talk.
Well, damn. Yeah, a lot of firsts there, man. I'm definitely going to encourage everybody out there once again to check out that interview I was talking about, the Dr. Green Thumb Show, and tell them where you heard it. And then hopefully the word will get out there, and maybe we can get Lonzo over there to tell, his side of the story, just his story, period. You know what I'm saying? Because his story is the story. But before we continue, I'm asking everybody to hit that like button. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you want some real authentic West Coast hip hop history mixed in with a little BS and news stories and social issues and things like that, you are tuned into the right place. Hit that subscribe button. N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. That is the godfather of West Coast hip hop, Alonzo Williams, and I am Dusty Vision. Let's move on, Lonzo, unless you have anything else to say on the subject.
I see Matthew Murray got something.
Yeah. That's a good question. That's actually what I'll jump into that right there. I just copied and pasted. Hey, Lonzo, Harrio's wife is claiming she's the one who called all the people personally to be in the Welcome to Death Row documentary when it came out in 2001. Who was in it? So is that true? Who was it? And so is that true?
Now, you know what? I'm going to say something. Hold on a second. I'm gonna do something right. Hold on 1 second.
Oh yeah. And don't forget to hit that donate if you're feeling a little, giving. It's tax season right now. Give a few dollars to the channel. We really appreciate it.
What I'm about to do, if this brother answers the phone, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do shit that most motherfuckers can't do. Hold on, let me show you. Let me do something right quick. Y'all just be patient, man. Y'all in a hurry. Y'all.
Take your time. Take your time. Go ahead and do your thing. Just make sure we're all connected, so when they do talk, we can.
Let me call this phone. Make this phone call.
We can hear them. But yeah, hit that like button while Lonzo's doing that. If you have any questions for the godfather of West Coast hip hop, please put them down below, and we will discuss them. It's been 6 years as of yesterday since we lost Nipsey Hussle. That's one thing we're going to talk about later as well. R.I.P. to Nipsey Hussle. Crazy how it's already been 6 years. I can't even believe it's been that long. Alonzo's gearing up to do something.
Fast response to education. Peace.
I'm trying to call my boy JD. JD Lonzo, I'm doing my podcast. If you get off the phone in the next 15 minutes, give me a call back. I got a quick question for you, Doc. Hit me on the phone. Yeah, I was called by Doug Young. Okay, I was called by Doug Young. Lydia may have called a lot of people. I met her one time at the shoot. And I cannot dispute what she's saying. I cannot dispute that. But Doug Young called Lonzo and asked me, "Hey man, told me that they're doing a documentary on West Coast hip hop. They got to have you in it." Let me put a pin right there for a second. I want y'all to do a little research if you get a chance to. Grab some, go to Tubi, go to Amazon, go to anywhere and look at West Coast hip hop documentaries. Any of them. Welcome to Death Row, West Coast Gangsters, this, whatever the case may be. And tell me how many times you see Egyptian Lover or Dr. or Disco Daddy in it.
Okay. Nope. Let me tell you right now, though, Lonzo, and just so you know, I ain't BSing. I don't mean to cut you off, but I literally typed in on Google West Coast hip hop documentaries. And I'm gonna turn my phone around. I don't know if y'all can see it. You can zoom in, but the first one is Biggie and Tupac. The second one is N.W.A. Easy E Kings of Compton. The third one is Hip Hop Evolution. The fourth one is Mixtape. And the fifth one is Eve After Motherfucking Dark. Need you say more? Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Now,
Two. This is your time to two, motherfucker.
I want y'all to, like I said, just grab any the game got a documentary. There's several documentaries on West Coast hip hop. There's several of them. You ain't gonna see Disco Daddy. You ain't gonna see Egyptian Lover, but you will see me in that right now. My last count, I'm in 27 documentaries. Not to mention my own. I'm in 27 documentaries about West Coast hip hop, whether it be Easy, Dre, Cube, West Coast hip hop and music, anything West Coast related. I'm in it. I'm in about 10 books, maybe even more. I tend to watch the documentaries more than I read the books, but I get a lot of different requests to do quotes in different books. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to solidify my position, because some of y'all don't know. Some of y'all, because I ain't made a record since the 80s. Records were never my primary thing. I wanted to experience that. It's like a kid. Nigga, I always wanted to be on stage. I always wanted to get some backstage sex and the whole 9 yards, and I did that shit. It was something I did. It was a phase of my life that I did. I'm not a rapper per se. I damn sure can't sing. I can't play no instruments, but I've been DJing all my life, but I have DJing, got to scratching and folks scratching with their lips and eyebrows and shit. I left that alone, but I still play. I got gigs right now. But I've always did my thing a little different. But it don't mean I didn't do my thing. So I've always provided platforms on the West Coast for everybody to be successful. That's why when they played me as a hater in Street Out of Compton, I was a little disappointed because I've never been a hater. I couldn't have done what I've done being a hater. So that being said, just do a little research. Check out how. Tell you what, go to IMBD and type in my name, Alonzo Williams or Lonzo Williams, and see how many documentaries pop up. All right, that's what. Go to my IBD or IMBD. That's what you do. Go to my. I got one. Look for Disco Daddy's IMBD, or look for Disco or Egyptian Lovers IMBD. Look for either one of them. See if they got one. I got one. Okay, it's deep. It's deep. It's deep. Anyway, folks, when it came to Welcome to Death Row, they tricked me. I did not get a call to be a part of Welcome to Death Row. I got a call from Doug Young to be a part of a documentary on West Coast hip hop. My friend, my friend who was still a friend of mine right now, she's a publicist, Edna Sims, called me when it came time to do the premiere, and she says, "Hey, you want to come to the premiere of Welcome to Death Row?" I'm like, "Why I want to do that?" She said, "Because you're in it." I said, "Bullshit." "Yes, you are." I said, "Okay, cool." So she sent me a ticket. I came down there, and if you haven't seen the documentary, right after the credits, the first person you see is me. I looked a little different back then. I didn't have my beard. I was a little bit chunkier, but I was still me. Okay, and I spoke throughout. I was in and out of that whole documentary, and one of the lines in the documentary, I said something that I almost regret it, but fuck it, it is what it is. And I said there was a certain young man that said he would sell his soul to the devil for $1 million, and next thing it cut to Suge Knight. Okay, true story. Yella says it all the time. He won't say who said it. I did in the documentary. I ain't gonna repeat that shit again today because I don't need no problems. Anyway, she didn't call me. Now she may have called everybody else, but Doug Young called me. Now I didn't at that time because they was bringing everybody in individually. I don't know who else was in there until we saw the final cut. I know my boy Jay King from Club Nouveau was in there. A few other folks are in there, but I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't recall all the artists that was in that documentary. But I know she didn't call me. Brother that called me, I think it was Doug Young, and the guy who I ended up who is still friends of mine right to this day is Jerry Dobie, who is the publisher for for one of them hip hop magazines. What is this magazine called? Hold on.
Excel Source, Murder Dog, 4080,
Let me see here. Hold on there.
Street.
Damn it! It's let me look him up again. Hold on there. Hype magazine. That's my partner. That's my partner. He and I became friends on the set of Welcome to Death Row. He came to the club that night. I had my club in Inglewood. He came by that night, and we've been partners ever since. Okay. And unfortunately, he's on the phone right now. He sent me a text that he can't talk right now. He'll try and call me back. But yeah, that's how I got into the movie Welcome to Death Row. And again, I'm not discrediting her, saying that she didn't call everybody else, but she just didn't call me.
Okay. Shoot. All right. Yeah, let me see here. All right, Lonzo. So we got about 8 minutes. Let's talk about this, man. Yesterday, March 31st, was the 6-year anniversary since we lost Nipsey Hussle, taken out tragically outside of a business that he owned by one of his close associates, by most accounts. 6 years. Take yourself back to that day. We did a show about it back then, and just fast forward to 2025. Has anything changed? Talk to me just about Nipsey Hussle.
Man, that was a strange day. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was in the studio where I'm right now in the control room. I've been in the main studio. I was building something. I was working on something, and my engineer was in the room. Mega Hands was in the studio. He says, "Oh hell no!" I said, "What happened, man?" He said, "I just got a text. Nipsey Hussle got shot." I didn't know who Nipsey Hussle was. I had no idea. I'm sorry. I had seen his posters when he was doing this thing, was selling the CDs for $100 or something like that. I remember that. I remember that whole internet thing. I also remember meeting him briefly at Chambers Shoe Shine Parlor a few years back, but I didn't know he hadn't blown up yet. He said, "Man, if that dude died, it's gonna be some shit in the streets." Again, why? And he was telling me how Nipsey was, he was trying to do a lot of things in the 60 hood, blah, 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 and that he was very, very powerful. And again, it did not register how powerful he was, how influential he was. And when he died, he was like, "Man, I got to get out of here. I got to get home." And he came by a couple of days later, and he was over here, and he told me and here's the crazy part. He got scared because for fear of how people were going to react. I'm like, "Dude, you had nothing to do with that." He said, "It don't make no difference, man. The cats going to be looking for revenge." Why do they want to take revenge on somebody who had nothing to do with it? They know who did it, and none of it ever made sense to me. But it was some street logic that defied logic in my book. And sure enough, when Nipsey passed, it was the whole city was in mourning. And again, it was kind of a shock for me. I remember they started playing this music on the radio. I remember Steve Harvey. I'm not familiar with this guy, but he must be somebody big because everybody's asking to play his music. And then to see that at that time the Staples Center was used for his funeral, I'm like, who the hell is this dude? And then the whole city was shut down the day of his funeral. The streets were blocked. The caravan went from the Staples Center all the way to Manchester, I think it was, down Manchester, up La Brea. I'm at another guy's office on La Brea and Centinela, and people is passing by waving still in the caravan. They still had a makeshift escort. They had 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, the whole 9 yards. And I had in my life, I had never seen LA get shut down like that for anyone. And it was really odd because a couple of weeks later, John Singleton died. And I thought he would be, it'd be a much bigger deal. But it's like just another nigga died and made movies. And I was told, I thought he would be, John Singleton's funeral would be a lot bigger than what it wasn't. It was just another dude that died and made movies. but Nips was something that I hadn't seen shit damn near since Michael Jackson died.
Damn. That's deep. Hey, what did you think of John Singleton? You know, he was 22 maybe, whatever, when he did Boys in the Hood. I mean, for anyone nowadays, I don't think a 22-year-old could even tie their shoe correctly without getting help from mommy and daddy. But, you know, for a 22-year-old or whatever to put a movie together like that, talk to us a little bit about John Singleton. Did you ever run into him? Well, what are your thoughts of him?
I met him one time in passing, man. He seemed to be a pretty cool dude. We didn't have a conversation. Hey, man, I knew who he was. Shook his hand. That was pretty much it. I thought his work was excellent, though, man. I mean, he grabbed the hood like nobody else, man. You know, he was one of the first ones to really do that. Except for it was the Hudson brothers did the hood movies too.
The Hughes brothers.
Hughes brothers.
Yeah.
The Hughes brothers did hood movies too, but his had a little bit more grit to it. It was a little bit different, dude. He gave Ice Cube his first break. I remember that whole scenario, man. I was Cube wasn't here with me, but I remember when they were talking about doing the movie because Jerry Heller was at that time he had started working with Eric, and it was rumors of them being in the movie some way, form, and fashion. I think Ren was up for a part at one time, but it didn't work out. And to see 8 in there, another one of my guys, I'm like, damn. No, I'm sorry, I'm talking role movie. To see Cube in there, period, was a major accomplishment. 8 was a menace to society. But again, I got movie stars. I mean, these guys came directly from my camp that went on to do big things in the movies and sports and entertainment. So how, I'm trying to understand what you're looking at, man. You're looking at because you did 3 days at the sports arena that's supposed to make change the world. That changed LA, it didn't change the world. It didn't affect the world. So just understand the importance of impact. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Toot, motherfucker. All right, we got about 1.5 minutes left, Lonzo. Any last words? What you got coming up? Let us know what's up with Lonzo next. I know you always stay busy.
Oh man, I'm getting ready for the Father's Day events. I do a lot of stuff for Father's Day. I'm a big father opponent. Born on Father's Day. Getting ready for my prostate cancer walk. Just doing things, man. Just doing Lonzo shit, man. That's all. When you retired, and see, this is something else that cats don't get it. Look, take care of your business, so your business can take care of you. You don't want to have to work all your life. I work because I want to. I like working. Okay. I never thought I'd say some shit like that. I enjoy what I do. I work for a nonprofit, EECI. I'm an instructor. I teach what I'm talking about, y'all. Talking to you. I teach what I'm talking about right now. Not hip hop, but just marketing and doing business. Okay. Don't wait for somebody to give you shit. If you wait on somebody to give you something, you're gonna be a waiting ass with your dick in your hand. That's my boy Jerry Dopey. Hold on one second there.
Let's do it.
Doc.
Bro, I'm good. What's happening? You okay? What's up?
Everything good, man. I'm sitting here. I'm on my podcast right now.
We're live.
Bro, I thought I need to catch a fucking flight or some shit, bro.
No, you don't need no flight, man. We all right. We ain't gotta hurt nobody. But
I'm sorry.
A question came across the feed here, and somebody asked, said Lydia, Harry O's wife, allegedly was supposed to have called everyone individually to be in Welcome to Death Row, and I explained to him that she didn't call me. I got a call from Doug Young. Did you know anything about that?
Yeah, I was the talent coordinator on Welcome to Death Row, brother.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I did a lot of the calling.
Tell them who you are. Tell them who you are so they'll know who you are.
My name is Dr. Jerry Dopey. I am the editor-in-chief of the Hype magazine. I also used to be the fingers for Lonzo. We met on the set of Welcome to Death Row when Lonzo came out to Hollywood and filmed his segment. Then he invited me to his club, The Current Affair, and we've been together ever since. We share a birthday. Yeah. It's crazy. So I worked for Lydia and Harry O. At the time, it was Godfather Entertainment. And then, so I ended up as the talent coordinator on Welcome to Death Row. It was filmed by Xenon Pictures. And I was the talent coordinator and wrangler. I made the calls, a lot of them, you know, Nate, Joe Iskro, all that stuff. So Lydia did a majority of it. Like, she's the one who knew, you know, David Kenner and Griffey and those cats like that. She made those calls, but the street level cats a lot of it was me.
Okay, see. I called.
And I'm on IMDb. I'm in the credits as a talent coordinator, so it's not like you can't find me. IMDb.org. Just type in Jerry Dobie, and you'll see it. Welcome to Death Row, talent coordinator, and I'm also, you know, the unit publicist on Sweet Oranges. I appear as myself in Alonzo's documentary as well, Not Without Alonzo. So yeah, that's who I am.
Maybe we can get you on for a full interview sometime in the near future. I'd love to hear your story about how that whole thing came about.
Yeah, I don't really do all that, brother.
Oh, okay, never mind then. We appreciate what you have done.
I gotta call him.
Talk to Lonzo.
I gotta call him. I gotta call him. I'll call him. We'll work it out.
Yeah. Because I don't know. I hear a voice, but I apologize.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies.
I'm sorry. That's another Gemini brother. That means he's pre-approved. That's Dusty Vision. My partner in crime for the podcast for how long? 6 years now.
Ooh, man, about seven. Yeah.
7 years.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, by the way, man.
Pleased to meet you as well, sir.
Very good brother. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have the crowd I had, the following I have right now. But very helpful. He's been my right hand when it comes to this damn podcast shit, man. So I'm glad y'all met. And Jerry is very, very influential in the hip hop game, and he's still a level-headed dude. He don't like being in the front that much. He almost as bad as Unknown, but I'll talk to him.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah. But we have a conversation about it.
All right, we were just talking. You know, there was some discrepancy about who did what, and you know, I don't want to go over it again, but you got.
Now she used a lot of her personal relationships.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the meetings and people that were in the in the mix. They were contacted by Lydia. She knows everybody that Cat, Uncle, and Dog. So that's true. But like I said, you know, like I was the cat who lied to RBX to get him here into LA to film his segment. You feel me? And then they tried to hijack him. So like, them folks wasn't playing. You know, them film people wasn't playing. They was trying to, you know, on some trickeration. I'm the nigga that, you know, excuse my language, but you know, we were up in Oakland shooting at Timex Social Club with Jay King's house. Yeah, this is the first time, and matter of fact, hanging out with E40 was the first time I ever drank Paul Masson and watched a woman pull a lollipop out of that thing. I was like, what the hell? And you know, like
nice.
So yeah, so I was there.
All right,
I'll just say that.
All right, man. Much love to you. Everybody good out there?
Everybody good. You know, man, we done hit 22 years. I think you should give me a bonus. He was in my wedding and told me we had to make it 10 years or I had to refund the cost.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, man.
So, yeah, man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate
Talk to
you. Much love, Doc. All right, thank you for calling.
Take care, man. Peace.
All right, Doc. Peace.
I gotta say,
Lonzo ain't got a lot to kick it, man.
I ain't gotta ask. I need to make them phone calls. Ask. He just make them phone calls. See what happened. Ain't nobody got my Rolodex. Well, I'm sorry, I can't say that. Not many people got my Rolodex. That's gonna call you back. Now you might get a voice message or a text, whatever. Not many people got my Rolodex when it comes to old school hip hop, and people that's gonna keep it real. You got a bunch of add-ons, a bunch of co-supporters. When it comes down to keep folks keeping it real, they're still active in the game right now. Yeah, that's it's a different relationship. All right.
There it is, man. Hit them with that outro, Lonzo. They know what it is.
Y'all know how we do it. For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer until he got cold on the eve after dark, 50-yard line at the Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap, Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for not without Alonzo. Peace.